Is this the one, and I truly mean the one and only, Krigare?
Hey, how's it going?
It is, it is, it is. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
Um, okay. After a stressful week, I'm okay. Yeah. So off the bat, and this is going to be my my thing for tonight, as I talk to all three of the girls that were supposed to be on the show tomorrow night. Thank you for putting up all the craziness and wackiness, and I don't even know how to explain it, but thank you for putting up with it.
Oh, dude, it wasn't even your fault at all. So you don't need to stress or worry or feel bad. It was completely out of your hands. And, the music industry and venues can be weird like that. So it's no worries whatsoever.
And that's what I was telling Nick earlier. Like, it got to the point, like, on Saturday, there was just so much going on. Like, I'm like, I have to write this down because I don't think this is going to end good, and people aren't going to believe everything that's going on. And the story just kept
Right.
growing. So, oh, it's craziness. But you've been very busy, I see.
I have been, dude. It's like literally I just stepped away from mixing tracks and everything for our shows this coming weekend just to like come and call you, and then I'll go straight back to work. And we leave at like 6:40 in the morning, but I have no idea when I'll go to sleep. So yes, it's been very busy.
Sleep while, you're not driving, are you? Somebody else driving?
Someone else is driving, so thankfully I can
There you
always
go.
sleep in any kind of a moving vehicle. I'll be set.
There you go. Very good. Yeah, because you're going to be playing now. You're playing Is it? I was trying to like figure it out. It's almost like an arts festival, like music and art. It seems like.
Yeah, kind of. So it's Shawnee River Fest. It's their I don't know Roman numerals very well, but I think it's their 6th year. Whatever VI is, I think that's 6.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's basically like kind of a hodgepodge of, there's Broadway performances and there's dancing performances and there's musicians, and it's just like supposed to be a really great family-friendly weekend with food trucks, and just it's great because you get a weekend in the summer for everybody to come together and have entertainment and just have fun.
It sounds like such a great time.
You should drive up and come say hi.
I'll tell you what, and here's the thing, which I was going to say this for later in the interview, but I guess we can do this now. I had the whole health thing earlier this year, which I discussed with you, and it turned out to be this sarcoidosis, which I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like, it doesn't sound too bad. It's horrible. It's really bad.
Oh no!
And it's uncurable. And
dude,
yeah, and it's like basically it's an infection of my lungs and my lymph nodes and all. So when it's very hot out or it's humid, especially, like forget it. Like I can't go outside anymore. Like because I just can't breathe. I just cough.
I'm so sorry.
It's it's brutal. So now it's like, do I have to like wait and see what the weather is? Like, will I be able to stand it, or will I be there with an inhaler the whole time? And but
man,
totally. The plan right now is to like even my wife. She's like, we're gonna go right. Like we need to just like go take a ride and just clear our head and just like go and enjoy it. I'm like, as long as it's a cool day, like I'm there. So.
Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. But I mean, we're talking like plans while on the radio, but like if you want to grab dinner or something and not be outside, I still want to meet you at some point. So we should email back and forth and just like meet up somehow.
Absolutely. Now, how is your health? Like everything's been very good. I'm assuming because you've been working your ass off over there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's you go through ups and downs for sure, just because the body changes all the time. But as of right now, I'm doing pretty good and just trying to learn how to balance all of it. Life after crazy health stuff really sucks sometimes, just because your body will never ever be the same again. And so you have to learn what your new normal is, and you have to change your habits, and you have to just be very mindful. And it's a beast in and of itself, but it can definitely be really hard for me to not get completely and totally overwhelmed by it. But, you know, I've always been strong. I've always been a fighter. So I just, you know, go forward with it and go, what the heck? It doesn't control me. I control my body, and we'll work it out eventually.
That's such an awesome way to think. Because when you said control, like, it's funny because my uncle, who was he became, like, in later years before he passed away a couple years ago, more like truly my second father. Like, he really stepped up, and he was my godfather, and he really stepped up to that role in his last years. And that was one thing he always said to me. He was like, control. You have control over your body. You have control over the outcome of things in your life, but you have to maintain control. You can't give up the control that you actually possess.
Absolutely. I mean, if I can give you any encouragement whatsoever, it applies to cancer and it applies to anything else, is everybody will tell you, like, your mind will control what your body does. So if in your mind you're feeling defeated and you feel like this is never going to get better and this is just how it is, then, you know, your body's going to listen to your mind. If your mind is, no, I'm not going to take this for an answer and we're going to find something and my body's going to get into alignment, like, it makes a huge difference. Doesn't mean that it's easy to do all the time, but it's all about mentally where you're at, because that controls how your body decides to heal or how it decides to respond to things. So if any encouragement at all, just tell that stupid infection to suck it, and, like, you are in control of it. So it sucks and it's difficult, but it's at least, you know, something to do whenever you feel like you can't do anything at all.
Totally. Now, when you think of those, like, inspirational things that you were just saying there, like, do you start jotting them down and, like, all right, I'm going to make that for a T-shirt?
Perfect.
Because I see you've been, like, printing them T-shirts up like crazy.
Oh my gosh, it's been like taking over my entire world, but it's kind of awesome because, you know, we did a shirt previously before the big name change, which, by the way, don't buy a big order of T-shirts if you're going to change your name in the next year, because I didn't plan that out very well, but I didn't know that was going to happen. But anyway, we ordered out to a merchandising company who's actually a really great friend of mine, and they turned out incredible, and they're great, and we still sell them at our shows. But it's been kind of a cool process of, like, knowing that my fans are getting something that is completely made by me. Like, I spray paint every single shirt and spend, like, a minimum of 30 minutes on each shirt and make sure that they're right. And then I've been making these bracelets that, like, say Warrior on them, and I stamp each one and I make the entire bracelet. And, like, it's just a different feeling of, like, hey, they're actually, like, getting a piece of something that I create, something that I put passion into outside of music, something that they can wear every day or look at every day that is actually a part of me.
Yeah, and I mean, that's it's just so personal, and that's something I love with today's music too. Like, you can get on such a personal level with artists nowadays through, you know, thankfully, to social media and things like that. But I mean, you're taking an even step further, where you're like hand making the merchandise too, your own personal touch.
Yeah. Ask me in a month if it was a smart idea or not. Whenever I am making them at all times, but as of right now, it truly is like a joy for me to be able to make each one of these shirts and to, like, be able to share that with people.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, the last time we talked, you had the big debut of video and song, which Nick ended up making his own version of.
Yes, he did.
Which I'm sure Nick is dying to hear you say your thoughts on it.
Oh, I think, didn't I, like, send him a long email, and I was like, dude, this is the most epic, amazing thing I think anyone ever has done to one of my songs. Like, that was the coolest thing ever. And that's like exactly the response that I wanted from that song in particular. So it just was like completely made my week seeing him actually go through what he said on that.
Nick, you there?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you're here!
It was a lot of fun to make too. So it was,
I'll tell you what. Like when he started making it, like it was like all of a sudden it hit him. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And it was like it took me like a couple of days, like to really learn how to piece all the stuff together and get the clips and all. And yeah, he was so excited.
Because I learned that video editing, I'll do it. Like
that's amazing. You were truly committed to that. So props to you because it turned out fantastic.
That's awesome.
Really,
that is so awesome.
It really is a tribute to how much I love the song, though, because, I mean, not a week goes by that I don't listen to it on the Facebook page.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. That truly means so much.
I think you probably didn't hear, but about 3 weeks ago, me and Bay were talking, too, about I think it's the Heights lyric video.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. Just the entire concept of it and the way it ends, it's perfect.
Oh, thank you. That's seriously, like, we were going to release Heights, like, a week before I came up with that idea. And no joke, we just, like, stuck up this black curtain upstairs in our guest room. I did my hair that way. I'm, like, wearing shorts underneath it because you just don't see the lower half of my body. And it's one whole take, and I got it done in like a week. And like the response from it is exactly what you just did. Like I can't believe that something so simple got such a great response out of it. But I guess that's kind of like the beginning of Heights is like that. Like there's no chords in it for the first verse. So I love that people are like loving that simplicity.
It is, and the way that it was created is very reminiscent of sort of the epic sort of 90s and 2000 music videos to where, I mean, it was a lyric video, but it wasn't. Like, that as far as I'm concerned, that's the official video. It can't get better than that.
Oh, thank you.
So that means that Nick wasn't even going to attempt that one.
No, apparently that was enough.
So, I thought of a lot of different angles to approach it from, and I just couldn't get it right.
Well, we're working on another lyric video right now, kind of similar to the same concept of the Heights one, but for Sleeping Awake. So I'll keep you updated on it. I'll send it to you first so that I can get your approval.
Oh, there you go. Now, before we get into Sleeping Awake, you actually you released a cover of America the Beautiful the other day.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if you watch Man in the High Castle. It's like the Amazon series. Have you ever heard of it or seen it?
Absolutely.
Nick's Mr.
So so it's an incredible series, and it's painting this like crazy picture of what if Germany won World War II, and like it's just so cool. But the intro song to that is it's like a really interesting cover of a German song. And my dad is like a huge fan of that show, and he's like, oh my gosh, you need to do something like that, but it needs to be like for America. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And so I was listening to America the Beautiful, and I was like, oh, what if we threw it in a minor key and like made it really haunting and cinematic? And so I called my friends up who are in this band called Jane Black, and they're like just really great friends of mine. And I was like, hey, do you want to attempt to do this like dark cinematic cover of America the Beautiful? And just kind of left it at that. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And we tried to schedule things for like a month or so, and it wasn't working out. And then finally we scheduled a time, and I get there, and I'm not even sure if we're like working on that cover anymore, or if we're writing, or like what's happening. And they played me the track to it, and I think my jaw like fell to the ground because it really like wasn't much different from what you hear right now, and it just was totally inspiring to me. And I was so glad that we were able to get it in time to release for 4th of July, and people are listening to it on a national holiday, which is crazy, and it was such a cool experience, and probably like one of my favorite things that I've worked on.
You know, you said the magic word in there, and Nick, how many times have we said the word to somebody that we've interviewed, cinematic
Absolutely.
pop? Ever since you, now we try to tell everybody, and we refer to you we're like, you know, Krigare, she's like got this new halting cinematic pop sound, like, or like you got to hear it. We can't even describe it, and we're just telling them
Right.
like, you got to be more like that. You got to be more like Krigare.
I love that.
So that led to now you have this new song, like you said, "Sleeping Awake," which there's no lyric video out, there's no nothing out. So when do you think you're going to be popping that out? I mean, because that's another thing too. Like, not only are you the one who's making all these shirts handmade, you do all the video editing and all yourself too.
I do. Oh my gosh. I think I like wear 20 different hats at this point, but you know, necessity is the mother of invention, and it is what makes you go, okay, if I can't afford this, then I'm going to learn how to do it myself, which is like, I just love doing anything creative. And so it's a huge learning curve because obviously a few years ago I had no idea what video editing was, and then now I'm doing it myself, and I just like did this upgrade package to some crazy special effects company, and like it's starting to get better as I'm learning more. And so yeah, we're working on a lyric video. I posted these little teasers on Instagram of these smoke bombs, so that already gives an idea of kind of like what it's going to be looking like. It's going to be very colorful, but there's going to be good contrast to it. But basically I just need to get back off the road, get back home, and then we're going to probably film it when I get back and hopefully release it maybe by the end of the month.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Now, let me ask you a question here, and this is just out of my own curiosity, and just because I want to be a pain in the ass to Nick. Do you like to talk on the phone outside of doing interviews?
You know, I don't actually.
What is it with you people?
I become really talkative, but whenever I'm with you guys, I can talk for hours. But it's like talking on the phone with somebody else. I'll do it. I'm not like one of those people who totally avoids it. Like my brother will avoid it at all costs, but definitely I'm like, if I can just like text it to you or email it to you, it's just a lot faster.
Is your brother's name Nick as well, by chance?
Unfortunately not.
Wow. I guess I'm really becoming in the minority here. Okay.
You are.
I'm telling you. Yeah, Nick has this like strict rule that he's really sticking to that. Go ahead, Nick. I'll let you say it's your rule, so I'll let you say it.
I don't answer voice calls anymore. There's enough ways for us to communicate otherwise. I haven't answered one in all of 2017.
That is incredible. I don't know how you get away with it, but it is pretty incredible.
Okay. So, yeah. So, all right. So, Sleeping Awake. Now, what is this song actually about?
So, oddly enough, Sleeping Awake being my third single was the first song that I wrote that launched me into wanting to change my name and my image and everything. So, this was the thing that changed everything for me. And I wrote it like almost a year and a half ago at this point. And
wow.
I was still like, I thought that I had already written kind of like the majority of my emotions about my cancer process already. And then I was sitting with my friends Lisa and Brian was like, I want to write a really angry song. And Lisa and I were like, we want to write a really dark and scary song. And so it just kind of like turned into this weird mush. And basically what it's talking about is, I think you've heard me talk about before that whenever I went through cancer, I just kind of shut off all my emotions and just like went totally numb to get my way through it. And so that's what the song is about. Like the title being Sleeping Awake, even though it's only mentioned one time in the song, I chose that title because I felt like it wrapped everything together. When you feel numb or even depressed or just that state of like not being present anymore, you feel like you're sleeping awake. Like your mind is gone, your emotions are gone, but you're still walking around, you're still functioning, you're still, doing things, but you're just not really there. And the song itself, like some could consider it to be busy or some could consider it to be chaotic. And that's actually kind of the point, is on the outside, it looks like you're a zombie. Like you look like you're just not mentally there. On the inside, when you're dealing with numbness, you feel chaotic and crazy just because there's so much that you're internalizing and you're not letting it out and you're not letting yourself let it out. And that's kind of just like, the song is really dark. Like the first line of it is roses aren't red when they're cutting your skin. And it talks about in a watercolor bleeding out. Like it's really visually interesting compared to some of my other songs, but it was just to try and give that intense emotion of what numbness and depression can really do to you. But then in the bridge, it kind of starts to turn it around of saying, I finally found a place to hide and let out what I feel, tangled up in something that I wish it wasn't real. And it's starting to get out of that slowly. That was a very long answer to your question, but that's kind of what it's about.
It was a great answer. But the follow-up question I have to ask is, why didn't you release this one first? Why did you wait on that?
That's a really good question. I think I think the way that I like to release music is I like for it to build. Especially it's like when you do an album, I want it to feel like it progresses, and I think I wanted to be very strategic with what songs I released in what order, being the fact that I started from the ground up again. And with Falling Apart, it just felt like a good teaser. Like it kind of gets really big at the end, but it never fully like blows up in your face. And then you have Heights, which starts to blow up in your face. Like it totally hits that climactic drop hit kind of like crazy cinematic thing. And then this one is just continuing to build off of that. So it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. So I feel like it just felt good to release it as a third because it just continually is progressing in a certain order, and it just seemed like it fit the best. Nice.
Well, let's not wait any longer. Let's get this out there. Let's share it with everybody.
Yeah.
So all right, so let's get the plugs out too first. So this weekend you're going to be at the Shawnee Music Festival, and that's in is it Shawnee, Pennsylvania, or?
It's Delaware Water Gap.
Delaware Water Gap, PA.
Mm-hmm.
So just actually, I found it by Googling Shawnee Music Festival.
There you go. It works.
And where can everybody find you? Because you are a busy bee all over the world of social media. And where can they get these amazing songs?
You can find them on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the things, just all under Krigare or Krigare Music.
Boom. There you go. Well, thank you very much for everything as always. And yeah, I got to get myself up there on Sunday. I will. I will be.
I would love to see you there.
Absolutely. And have a safe ride up. And yeah, we'll hook up on Sunday then.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Take care.
See ya.
All right, there she goes. The one and only Krigare. Check her out. Look for Krigare or Krigare Music. Here's the song that she was just talking about. It's called Sleeping Awake.